Hello and welcome back to this video series on DAO. In the last video, we talked about creating a DAO by implementing an interface, having those methods in the DAO implementation class, and we were creating this connection object into each of those methods. However, because the code will be duplicated into all of those methods, we tried putting that code into employee DAO constructor. But again, the problem with this is that we are going to write this code into different DAO classes. If we have a customer DAO IMPL class, we have to repeat this code. If we have some other like admin DAO IMPL class, then also we have to repeat this code. That is where we have to create another class and put this code into it, and let's do that. So I'll create a new class here, and I will call this as a connection util class inside a utils package, and let me call it as a connection utils. And here I am going to create a private static connection object. So I'm going to make this connection as a singleton object. Now, why singleton is because in my inter application I need only one connection object. I don't want to make a connection every time I want to insert a data, or I don't want to make a connection every time I am using admin DAO, I am using customer DAO. I want only one connection object for all of my operations. So here I'm going to make a singleton object. So how do I make a singleton object? So first of all, you create that private static variable called connection, and then I'm going to add a get connection method. So this is how you generate get and then control space, and here it is returning connection as of now, so it will be returned as null. And now I'm going to write if connection is equal to null. If it is null, then I am going to create the connection. So all of this code I will put into my connection utils, and then I have to remove this connection from here. So it will be like we're assigning this driver manager dot get connection, and obviously this I don't need here. I want to only create a connection, right? So that's my code, and then I'm going to throw the exception from here, class not found exception, and as well as SQL exception. That's my connection utils class, and make sure you don't have any warnings into your classes. So remove these unused imports, and this is my very straightforward, very simple singleton implementation of connection object. So now whenever I need a connection, I am going to simply call this get connection method from connection utils class. So this is more useful way of creating or writing the code. So I need connection into employee DAO. I will just call that method. I need that connection object into admin DAO. I will call that method. It's very simple now. And in this employee DAO IMPL, because I want to execute add employee, remove employee, get employees methods, and I need to interact with the database with the help of queries. That's where I'm going to prepare all of my queries, or I'm going to prepare my statements, prepared statements that I'm going to create. So prepare statement, est1 is for adding, est2 for deleting, est3 is for selecting one particular employee, and est4 is for selecting all, right? And then these PSTs I'm going to say this dot pst. First of all, let me get a connection is equal to, now see that connection utils, so not URL, connection utils, not this one also, dot get connection. So this is that method, and this throws those two exceptions, I'm going to add throws clause to my methods. Right, I have got the connection. Now what I'll do, I'll prepare those statements. So this dot pst1 is equal to connection dot prepare statement, and here is going to be my SQL statement. Insert into employee values. This is my ID, this is my first name, last name, email, and salary. So that's my prepared statement for adding a new employee. Similar way, let me create pst2 as well, is equal to connection dot prepare statement. So here I'm going to say delete from employee, where employee ID is equal to question mark. So that's a value that I'm going to pass when I execute. So that is the advantage of prepared statement. You first prepare your statements, and then whenever you want to execute, assign the value to your placeholders and execute. Now same way, I prepare statement 3. So now this is select star from employee, where employee ID is equal to question mark, and finally pst4 is equal to connection dot prepare statement, select star from employee. There is no placeholder in the last prepare statement. So now these all are my prepare statements, and I've got a connection from utils, connection utils, prepared these statements. Now we have to execute these, right? So let me go and implement this first part, add employee. In add employee, what I have to do is I have to first set the values to these question marks. So to set the values to the question mark, this PST has methods like set x. Now look at this. So this dot set, no, this dot pst1 dot set. See that set array, set binary, set string, set short, set integer. All of those methods are there. The first question mark is of type integer, so I'm calling set int. So I'm setting the value to this parameter, and this parameter is of type integer. So parameter index is 1, and value here I will get as employee dot get employee ID. So that's my first one. Similar way, this dot pst1 is equal to set string. So now all of these are integers, sorry, strings. So employee dot get first name, I will copy this, change it to get last name. This is parameter 3, this one is 4, this is email, and finally it's a double. So this dot pst1 dot set double, parameter index is 5, and employee dot get salary, right? And here now I'm going to say integer status, or is equal to, or I will say integer updated rows is equal to this dot pst1 dot execute update. You call execute update method when you are inserting, deleting, updating any record, and you call execute query method on pst when you are selecting any record. And this execute update returns how many rows have been updated. So if a new record has been added, this will have one value. So I'll say if rows is equal to 0, okay, or less than is equal to 0, okay, I'm going to throw exception. So throw a new exception with a message unable to insert a new record, or rather I will throw, let me just, okay, I'll just throw exception Let me change it to exception here, and because I'm changing it here, I will also have to change into my interface, DAO interface. Make a note of that. I am changing. Okay, and here also I will change it to exception in employee DAO. So I'm throwing exception. If the rows are not updated, I'm throwing in exception. Right now, very quickly, I'm going to implement the remaining three. So here, this is this dot pst2 dot set int, only one question mark and employee ID. That's it. Integer rows is equal to this dot pst2 dot execute update, and if rows is equal to 0, let's say throw new exception with a message unable to delete the record, or meaningful messages also you can. And because I'm throwing an exception, I will change it to exception, right? And get employee. Now get employee is little different than what we have done for first two methods. So here I will first of all set, so this dot pst3 dot set int 1 and employee ID, and now this returns a result set object. So it's a result set. res is equal to this dot pst3 dot execute query. Execute query returns a result set. And now because we are writing this query on a primary key, so it will return only one record. So I'll check if it has that record or not. If it has that new record, I'm going to then create an employee is equal to new employee, and then here I'm going to get all the details. So res dot next res dot get int, because first column is of type integer. Here I'm passing the, and then get string 2. Now res dot get string 3, likewise res dot get string 4, and lastly res dot get double 5, and I will return this, return employee. Otherwise I'm returning null. If it doesn't have any record, then I'm going to return null. And finally, the last implementation is, now look at this, there is no need to set any parameter to pst4 because it doesn't have any placeholders. I'm just going to execute that, and then now it is going to return multiple. Okay, so I'm going to create a list of employee. List is equal to new array list. Array list is an implementation of list, right? And here we'll type that employee in order to avoid the, okay, and then I'll say now while, because it has multiple records, I'm using while, and then I will create this employee object here and list dot add employee, and finally I will return this list. Right, so this is the implementation of DAO. Right, so in the next video we will create a service layer, and we'll create a tester to test this application. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.